Okay, good morning, Rochester. You're listening to Outside the Echo Chamber on Rochester Free Radio, WRFZ 106.3 FM. Outside the Echo Chamber, the Liberty Talk Hour with Kevin Wilson.
And Sean Phelan.
Yep. Good morning on this nice, brisk St. Paddy's Day. Glad to be with you today.
Yeah, man, it's always a cold one out there.
Yeah. Well, it's a couple years ago it was like below zero out. So for the folks going out to the parade today, it's wear a thick coat. I'll be out there. I'll be in one of the parade things. I'll be on a bike.
I thought you were going to tell me you were going to be on a float.
Float? No. No. We got one of the Pedal Tour bikes for a group that I'm part of. So we'll be riding around on that.
Very cool.
Yeah, it'll be a good time.
I hope you don't freeze a testicle off or something. You know.
I was thinking a finger, but all right.
Yeah, well,
that's that too.
Depends on how many layers of clothing you have on.
Yeah, right. Layers. It's important.
Layer up, folks. It's cold out there.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day. We're finally here, and I also want to say happy birthday to my little redheaded Irish daughter. She turns 9 today.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
A happy birthday to you.
She doesn't listen to politics.
Oh no. 9. Not listen to Liberty Talk Hour.
No.
Was I the only one who did that at 9?
Yeah, I think maybe that's.
Is that why I'm the way I am?
Is that why you know what incumbent means and most people don't?
No, but we do have a bit to talk about today.
Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we've had some. A few interesting events happened this week, including the passing of our Congresswoman here, Louise Slaughter, which, condolences to her family and friends and supporters. I didn't always agree with Louise Slaughter, but it's always sad to see someone pass, and especially a long-serving Congresswoman like that.
Yeah, I wanted to see her removed from office, but not like that.
Yeah, right. No, we ran a candidate against her before, and we didn't agree with their policies, but still.
I'm very glad, though, that I did get an opportunity to heckle her while participating in the Gay Pride Parade.
Oh, really?
Yes, they actually moved her car up like 20 places to avoid me.
Wow, you're that guy, huh?
Yeah, I wanted to be that guy that day, so.
Yeah.
But, when you're, committing nepotism, giving your husband cushy jobs, I don't know. You're doing things like that, so.
Is that her?
That was her.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. I think the husband at the water company or something.
No, that's Maggie Brooks.
That was Maggie Brooks?
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, Maggie Brooks who did that. Who's the former county executive whose husband got in trouble for doing that.
That's right.
Yeah.
See, this is what happens when you start paying attention when you're 9 years old.
Yeah, no, I know random things like who the county executive is or was. It's Cheryl D'Onofrio now. But
there is one thing I do want to talk about real quick, and I'm going to mention it a few times today, is that us libertarians are having our annual convention.
Yeah.
And it's next week. It's next Saturday at Romig's Tavern at 12 noon.
Yeah, so if you want to get involved with the party, this is where the officers are elected, candidates are endorsed, and town leaders are selected. If you have to become a member to be able to participate, but
you can still attend.
Yeah, you can still attend and just see what happens and get to know other libertarians in the area. Plus, Romig's has amazing beer prices.
Yeah, I was about
to
say.
Throw that out there.
I was about to say, they get really good chicken wings.
And amazing food.
I am a connoisseur of chicken wings.
Yeah, it's worth going just for that.
But you get an opportunity to go. You can meet some libertarians, talk to us, get a feel for what we are about. See that we're not a bunch of fringed kooks, and no matter how much the media tries to portray us that way.
Or confirm it.
Or confirm it, depending on who you want to talk to. And worst case scenario, you come down 12 noon, and you have a beer and some food, and you get to meet a couple of people, and not a bad way to spend a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, so that'll be again next Saturday, the 24th at noon at Romig's.
Yep, Romig's, and that's up on was that Dewey over by the railroad tracks up there?
Yeah, right over there, right on the very west edge of the city.
Yeah, up by Greece there.
Yep.
In case people aren't fully aware of where it is. Just north of just north of the cemetery. There, you cross over the train tracks, and
Yeah, something like that.
It's right there on the right.
I don't know. I use Waze. I don't know where I'm actually going. Just I put it into my phone. My phone tells me where to go, and then I get there. If my GPS crashes, I'm gonna be lost.
Right.
I just won't be able to get to the studio.
Yeah. But, we had, a matter of fact, and I want to mention something. I want to send a special thanks to the guy that called the show last week after the show was over. And he called the studio, and he wanted more information on Larry Sharp. And I thought that was great, and, that shows that, people are listening, and they are hearing what Larry Sharp has to say, and they're liking it. And what's Larry's site again?
Yeah. If you, our guest last week, Larry Sharp, LarrySharp.com, and that's Sharp with an E. He always says
extra special.
Yes, he says E makes it special. Yeah, he has this thing that he's burned into all of our heads. But LarrySharp.com. So that was our guest last week, and as soon as I can get over a couple other issues, we'll have that up on our website, which is up, but some of the shows aren't posted yet, and it's outsidetheechochamber.show.
Yes, .show.
.show.
.com, .org.
.show.
.show. I like that.
.com was taken.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I like .show better because
it makes sense, right? We're a show.
Sense. We're a show, so why not be .show?
Yeah, if you think about it, it's pretty intuitive.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Scary, but pretty straightforward. And I think that's that kind of exemplifies the transparency of libertarians at this point in time. We're just pretty straightforward. Hey, it's .show, not .com, because we're not a business. We're not trying to turn a profit here. We're just .show.
Oh, no, this is about educating folks. So that's up there. So you can see a little bit of information about Sean and I. You'll see some posts going up with the shows, since we know how to get them now. So they'll start going up soon.
Yeah, for podcasts and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So those will be up as soon as we can edit them effectively.
And I also want to give a shout out to my coworker Scott, who this week he got a hold of a voter registration form after listening to Larry Sharp, and he switched parties.
Nice.
He jumped from Republican, and this is a guy that had, when I first got into that workplace, he has Trump talking about making America great again as his ringtone on his phone. And he listened to Larry Sharp twice, 2 speeches, and came back and said, I'm changing parties.
Great.
That's how good Larry Sharp's message is.
No, he really knows how to connect with people, and we're hoping that we can do a little bit of the same, and you're not just shouting at your dashboard right now. And
yeah, right. Oh, those libertarians, they just want to...
We haven't said anything edgy yet. Give us like 5 minutes, we'll be...
I mean, fundamentally, folks, we just want to take over and leave you alone as much as possible.
Take over the world to leave you alone.
Yeah, leave you alone. Let you make decisions for yourself.
Yeah.
But all right, so
the other thing... So are we ready for... Do you have more announcements? Are we ready for...
I've got more things I want to talk about, but, let's progress.
Let's progress. All right, so we want to talk about the walkouts first.
Hold on. Let's tighten up something because
okay,
you brought up about Louis Slaughter, and now there's going to be a special election, or isn't there?
Right.
And
so there will be some sort of special election. The governor has to call a special election. What he could do, which is something I guess Governor Patterson had done with what Tom Reed's district is call a special election, but have it be for the normal election day, which will be kind of weird because you'll end up kind of voting twice for the same spot. But the only one that really counts is the actual general election ballot.
Oh, okay.
So there will be some sort of special election. So we'll see if it's going to get moved up to, a June or July special election, or if there's going to be a full one in November.
So right now the Senate is sitting at 99 people.
No, she was a congresswoman.
Congresswoman.
Yeah, so our 2 senators are Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand.
Okay.
And she is Louis Slaughter is a member of the House, longest serving member of the House too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so she's been there a while.
Yeah, I guess so.
And so that seat is vacant. And I'm betting that if there's a special election early, it's going to be fascinating because despite the fact that Louise Slaughter's had this district forever, it's a pretty balanced district. It should be a swing district. People like Louise Slaughter, but it should be a swing district.
Do you happen to know the boundaries of her district?
It's basically all of Monroe County except for Hamlin.
What's wrong with Hamlin?
Oh, we don't like Hamlin.
No, okay.
No, I'm kidding. Okay, no, it's just how the district was drawn.
Wait a minute. Doesn't our state chairman live in Hamlin?
Yeah, our state chairman does live in Hamlin. Yep.
I guess we have to include it now.
No, but it's not part of the 25th congressional district. And I said this district, like Mark Cassini, back in 2014, came very, very close to unseating Louise Slaughter. Well, snuck in there. It was a little bit further apart in 2016. The Republicans have someone up this time, some doctor up this time, whose name I'm sadly not going to remember right now, and I forgot my phone, so I can't even look it up.
Oh my!
No, I know, but that's all right. But so we'll see who the Democrats end up putting up because it's especially if there's a special election early. Both parties, like the national parties, are probably going to put a ton of resources into this race. So that means that if you're watching TV, which I don't, but if you're watching TV, you're going to see just commercials every 5 seconds with scary music and black and white pictures of the candidates and them saying scary things.
Ugh. I'm not going to get into it too much, but boy, I was listening to some certain radio show host here who considers herself a federalist or something like that, which she's really a Christian conservative, and good God, was she just spewing the most crazy amounts of scare tactics and scare speak. It was just it was difficult to listen to her show.
About what?
Oh, the whole students walking out and
right.
Oh, they're making themselves targets and the parents aren't allowed to be there and something could happen.
Well,
and you know what happened? Nothing happened. Just like I thought was going to happen.
Right. So I get. There are safety concerns with that thing. I wouldn't be that wouldn't be my top concern. I'm more worried about different aspects of like the walkout. There are other parts of it that I didn't like.
Mm-hmm. All right, like what?
Well, like the fact that most of the walkouts, they're not really walkouts. They are school-sanctioned political events. You get some of these walkouts, and it's not like, oh, these kids are like protesting and doing civil disobedience to like express their views. It's more like the teachers and the principals told them to all gather in an assembly in a gym, and then they gave speeches to each other and in favor of restricting self-defense rights.
Yeah,
that's not a protest.
That's almost like an indoctrination kind of thing.
Yeah, no, and it feels creepy to me. There's no real protest there. It's like and as a student, you're being peer pressured into participating in that, and also like as a student, you're gonna be like, well, am I gonna skip class or not skip class? Oh,
yeah.
Right, yeah. No, I'm not gonna stay here and do math problems. I'm gonna go to the assembly and I'll listen and I'll play on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
That's sure as heck what I would do.
I was watching I guess they had like helicopter views over the schools, and they were showing the students, and so many of them were just like sitting there, standing there on their phones, kicking the dirt,
That's what it is. And it's not to say that there aren't some students who are legitimately passionate about this. Right. And in some cases, the students did lead the organizing at some schools, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. But, in the cases where it's the school administration sanctioning and putting on, like approving every aspect of these events, so it doesn't feel like a walkout. It doesn't feel like a protest. It feels like a government-pushed opinion on students.
I'm going to take slightly different angle on that, okay?
Sure.
I agree with you. Up until the point where I always try to find the silver lining in all the things that happen. And I think the silver lining in this is that you're starting to make the youth more politically aware. And that's what happened in the 60s. And as a former teacher, I believe that's also why teachers don't just get a license to teach and then that's it, they're good, they teach. They have to take what's called professional development classes and courses to continue to hold that license, which basically to me is just an excuse to make the teachers so darn busy that they don't have time to do after school events and influence the children, and guide them like that happened in the 60s. And so anyway, my point simply is that I think it's good that the students are becoming politically aware. I think it's good that students are being politically motivated, albeit maybe not in the direction I'd like to see them going, and definitely not with the message I want to see them going, but they're getting involved, and I like that. And I actually did some research, and I discovered some very interesting news. I found out that over in Germany, there's a number of districts, a number of states over in Germany, where the voting age is 16 for local elections. So like local officials, judge, mayor, stuff like that, city council seats, 16.
Yeah.
And I like it. I like it a lot.
No, I mean, sometimes that makes sense to me, right? Like, maybe students should be able to vote in, like, local school board elections or something, right? It
Right.
affects them.
Right, exactly. I mean, the judges affect them, city council affects them.
Right, and I know it's easy for to kind of paint young people with a broad brush. I think we're firmly on Gen Z now. We're not in the millennials. Millennials are older.
As a generation Tide Pod eaters.
Yes, that's why I see, like, you see the memes going around, at least in right wing circles, like, why should we let these Tide Pod eaters control our gun laws? Mm-hmm. All right, well, look, the young people are not necessarily more misinformed about politics than adults. They hold the same stupid opinions loudly like adults. And
that is true.
some of which are, again, the opinions of young people are more informed. And I absolutely encourage, like, libertarians who are in high school to get active, get organized, and to do things to support causes that they believe in. So I'm not going to say, oh, like, you're under 18, forget about you, like, don't do anything. I mean, I will tell you, if you're, under 18, you're going to look back at your opinions on some of the stuff, and they're going to be cringy.
Yeah.
It's going to be so cringy. But
somebody told me a long time.
Stay active and still learn.
Oh, absolutely. Somebody told me a long time ago, and I'm going way back, and they said something about, like, when you're young, you're a Democrat, and because you have a open heart. And
I know. I think I know what quote you're trying to go with.
And if you're not a Republican by the time you're 30, you've learned nothing or something like that.
Right. I think now it's my turn to butcher the quote.
Okay.
It's yeah. If you're young and not a liberal, you have no heart. If you're old and not a conservative, you have no brain.
Oh, okay. There you go. Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. There's something similar to that.
See, here's the thing: you can have a brain and a heart, and consider yourself a libertarian.
It's outside the political spectrum. Who cares?
Oh boy, but it's interesting. If we can, and here's the thing. I saw that Nick Sarek, the national chair for the Libertarian Party, put out a kind of support message for the students. Saying, hey, it's great that you're getting out there and doing your thing. But if, you want a party that's really going to respect, your rights and everything like that, you might want to consider coming and checking us out, libertarians out. And man, did people jump on him for that. Oh, you're trying to exploit a situation, for your own benefit, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? No.
Well,
it's letting the kids know we're out there. We exist. We're here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, without getting into inside baseball, I think the people were mad because it made it sound like, well, we're the party who's going to represent your views. And a lot of people felt like, well, in the context of this situation, that's probably not the case.
Right.
But, hey, we're up for a break. We can talk about that and a couple other things more when we get back. So, again, you're listening to Outside the Echo Chamber on Rochester Free Radio. We'll be back in just a minute. Okay, welcome back. Again, you're listening to Outside the Echo Chamber. Sean, what was that from?
I think it's from the Braveheart soundtrack.
Yeah.
I kind of like that Irishy sound to it.
Yeah. Scottish movie. But, yeah, no, it was fun. I like that.
I got my kilt.
Yeah, he's wearing it right now. No.
You know what? I should have. I wasn't thinking, but it was just too darn cold.
No, that's all right. It's supposed to keep you warm, right?
Surprisingly, it really actually keeps me really warm, almost too warm. It's serious. It's surprising.
I believe it.
until you stand in a certain way and get the breeze, and you go,
Yeah.
ooh, hey now.
Gross. All right. So anyway, we were talking about the school walkout situation, and well, we wanted to chat a little bit about Governor Cuomo jumping in this debate, which is
Did you see him rolling around on his back in like some like $2,000 suit?
Oh yeah, now he's doing his die-in. His
Where, I mean, don't these politicians have like people that watch them and make sure they don't do stupid things like that?
Man, the people on the pro anti-gun left loves that stuff. You eat it up.
Oy.
Really, like there are a bunch of people like, I think what he did is great. Like listening right now, that's
To me, it looked like pure sellout. It was just like, oh, here's my opportunity to get some votes, and let me jump on the ground and roll around and play dead and chant whatever they were chanting, anti-gun nonsense.
I'm sure, and I know I don't think anything specific has come out in New York, but I know they want to have some stricter gun laws, and they're trying to form some kind of coalition with some of the other states in the area to do like red flag type laws.
Right.
But so we'll see what comes of that. We'll continue watching it. But
I saw a great meme this week that there was a woman standing there saying that that she turned her gun in to stop the gun violence, help stop gun violence. And the guy standing there going, "Oh, that's interesting because I just turned in my credit card to stop, fraud."
Yeah, yeah. No, I saw that one.
What?
I mean, that's the thing. Like, so there's a guy from New York who like cut up his AR-15, and
isn't that a crime?
It absolutely is a crime. Yeah, like I don't think the ATF is going after him, but they could.
Well, if he had some marijuana sitting next to him while he did it,
Yeah, right.
they would be all. He'd be in jail right now.
There's been a few candidates who've done that, and there's videos of them going out. Yeah, if you cut off like just the barrel without actually like destroying the gun, and the ATF does have instructions on how to destroy a gun properly. You've just created like a shortened barrel rifle, which is illegal to do.
Yeah.
You can't do that. But furthermore, like doing that doesn't accomplish anything. Your gun's not going to jump up out of your closet and hurt someone. Mm-hmm. It would have to be acted upon. And like PSA around that, like if you do own any type of firearm, you should keep it locked up. Because it's a big problem in Monroe County where a lot of the gun crime in Monroe County is from stolen firearms from people, boneheads who leave like handguns in their glove compartment in their unlocked car. Then the car gets broken into. Mm-hmm. That's the first spot people check, and they steal their gun out of it, and then they don't report to the police for 6 months.
What's his name did that? The police chief somewhere. The crooked police chief.
Which police chief?
Oh,
I don't know.
His name. Oh, man.
Well, I don't know. Anyway,
he ended up losing his gun, never reported it. It got used in a robbery and something, and then, and it was like, yo, this is the police chief's gun. What's going on? Yeah.
I mean, but it happens all the time. And that's why, like, it kind of bugs me. Like, there's this thing that a lot of, like, gun owners like to do where they like to have, like, guns on their house and, like, oh, if you're an intruder, you'll get shot. And, like, people put, like, all these signs on their house saying they have a gun. You don't want to do that because you're advertising. That's a great thing for people to steal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're advertising to everyone like, oh, yeah, I have a gun in this house that you can steal when I'm not home.
It's been studies done, and they talk to people who've gone in home invasions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they will tell you straight out that it's the illusion that house may or may not have a gun owner in it is what prevents them from going in. Just that fear that there might be a gun owner, But if you turn around and say, "Oh, well, there is a gun here," you know what to expect.
Yeah, right.
And you go in expecting that someone's going to pull a gun on you, or that if you're there when nobody's home, that you might be able to find that gun.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing is like, yeah, it's they'll go when you're not home. I mean, and that's how most break-ins work. Is they don't want any trouble. They want to be able to steal your stuff and leave.
Yes, as quickly
why
as
make
possible.
why make it more difficult with someone with a gun? But
in Australia, they took the gun buyback thing that they did, and they actually only ended up getting like 20% of the guns off the streets or whatever.
Oh yeah, no one turned it.
But they then interviewed criminals that were getting arrested, and they were saying that now, because they did the gun buyback, that they will walk into houses knowing somebody's home. Because then they know the keys to the car are there, the wallet is there, the purse is there, and they know that they don't have a gun.
Yeah. Well, except for those 80% who didn't turn them in.
Right, but most of those people ended up being, those are pretty rural people that didn't turn their guns in.
Right.
You gotta, shoot a, rabid, kangaroo coming at you or something.
Yeah,
you know?
That's a serious problem.
Well, I've been told everything in Australia is just designed to kill you.
Yeah, but kangaroos are mean.
Yeah.
They'll knock you out.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, the other thing I want to bring up about Cuomo is what he said about the walkouts for the schools that punish the students, right? So some of the schools are like, okay, you can walk out, but if you walk out, we'll give you in-school suspension or something, right? So they'll give them some kind of punishment for walking out of class because that's the normal punishment for walking out of class. Governor Cuomo said that schools who did that should be punished. They should face some sort of state action for doing that. I'm calling nonsense on that because to me, it's like, why? There again, it was what we had started talking about earlier. There's no consequences to this action, and him saying that makes it feel even more like this is some state-sponsored propaganda game and not like a legitimate grassroots protest from students. And even where the students do have the credibility and the organizational ability to be able to pull these things off, it undermines their credibility by having the governor step in and say any schools that didn't permit this should be punished. And you think, like, what would happen if the situation were different? If someone wanted to host next week a pro-Second Amendment rally and, half the class walked out and did that, yeah, you bet that those students would get punished in some way. Which I'm fine with, actually. I don't really mind that. It's like, to me, it's like, okay, if you're in school, you're in school, that's fine. And you I don't know. What do you think, Sean? You're just looking at me and sighing, like, this guy is.
No, it's not you. It's almost like principals nowadays, and mind you, I am a former teacher.
Yeah.
They tend to be about as spineless as you can get. And there's few of them that do have backbones. And I'm sure it's a pleasure to work for them because I've worked with spineless principals before. And the other half of the principals just seem to, like, if it's the worst possible way of handling a situation, then that must be the right way of doing it. That's like their thinking or something. And I'm just thinking there's like 101 other ways that this could have been handled better by principals than what they're doing. And then you get people like Andrew Cuomo. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just Cuomo saying stuff, that's just. Yeah.
Well, he's trying to get ahead of the curve and build that national attention so he can run for president in 2 years.
Right. But it's just. Sometimes these principals and the school superintendents really need to just take a stand and say, you know what? No, we're not going to do what you're saying. We're going to do the right thing here, and even if that gets us in a little trouble, so be it. It's what's in the best interest of the kids.
Yeah. Listen, to me, it's like I just think it's a problem to not enforce the policy consistently.
Yes.
And that's the thing, right? Like, because realistically, like, you can't have this go on every week, right? No. You can't have it go on, like, because I know, like, pro-life students try to organize things like this frequently. Oh, yeah. I know a few people who are active in that movement, and they would want to walk out of class, and most of the time what they did is they wore, like, the red duct tape things. Mm-hmm. But why shouldn't they be able to walk out of class for their protest? Would they get punished? Would that be allowed?
Right.
Can you walk out to punish the 7 wars we have going on?
Right. I mean, and is this going to turn out to be an every 2-week thing or an every month thing?
Yeah.
What's this going to snowball into?
So I mean, and to be honest, like, yeah, if the libertarian in me is kind of like, yeah, walk out of class, great, like, do your thing, you shouldn't have to be there, but also like, the more sensible side of me is like, well, we just need to enforce the rules consistently, though.
It's like, if I was a principal, I think the way I would want to handle this is I'd want to actually, I'd say, all right, look, I understand, you want to protest and you want to, stand up for your rights and everything like that, and I'm good with that. I'm good with that. But I would say, look, instead of having you walk out of class every 2 weeks, for, we want our Tide Pods or, whatever, we're gun rights and we're not, we're against guns, whatever, whatever the protest happens to be, because these kids will find something to protest to get out of class. I think it would be better just to have if I was a principal, I would have like speakers come in. I'd say instead of your protest, I'm going to have a speaker come in about the subject that you want to protest about. And have a speaker come in the auditorium, and the kids can attend in the auditorium if they wish, and if not, then you're not just going to walk out of class. You're either going to be in the auditorium or you're going to be in the classroom getting your learning on.
See, that gets tricky too, because then it's like, what speakers do you allow in, right? You gonna allow Wayne LaPierre to go speak at your school?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't let like Milo, whatever his face,
Milo,
yeah. But no, I mean, I'd get somebody in there that actually has knowledge of the subject matter. I mean, I personally would not, get up and give a speech about knee surgery. I don't know nothing about it, but you find somebody who's, a retired surgeon, and he'll, I'm sure he'll turn, he'll
sure. Well, to me, it's not a matter of like expertise, right? It's that like public schools are in like a weird space where they're trying to be both apolitical, but like there's political exceptions that I feel like skew towards a certain point of view, right?
Well, no. I'm saying when I said speakers, I meant speakers as in plural, like as in one against.
No, see, I mean that though is like, okay, we're gonna get that would leave out folks like us.
It would, but it would still bring an education to the students because they'd have to hear a differing opinion.
Yeah,
and how this new generation doesn't like differing opinions.
No, I don't think anyone likes different opinions. Well, there's a really interesting debate going on right now about free speech on campuses at schools. I mean, with high school it's a little bit different, and then in college the conversation ends up evolving a bit, where you have college students who want to bring in these controversial speakers, but it's not entirely clear whether or not they have the permission to do so. You get people like Richard Spencer who want to go on campus, and okay, no one really wants that guy around. But you get less controversial people who want a space to speak on campus, and their speech gets shut down, or there's violence surrounding the speech, and you got to wonder like whose speech rights are really most paramount here. Are you able to balance the speech rights of people who want to bring in controversial right-wing speakers with left-wing protesters on campuses, and that debate that's going on in college campuses right now, the same thing I think would end up happening in the high school spaces as well.
Well, that is true, but it is a tricky spot. I mean, you'd really have to vet the people that you're thinking about maybe bringing in, and.
Well, who gets to vet?
I guess that's where the principal would make that decision, It's
what if the principal's a moron?
And many of them tend to be.
Yeah, well, see, that's my point, though. It's like, right, like the Charles Murray thing on the college campuses is like, you either say, like, we're going to let anyone speak here, or, we're going to shut this down because this is outside of the realm of acceptable opinion. And if you have a principal who's like, I think that pro-Second Amendment people are literally responsible for the deaths of children, and I won't allow any of them in my school to speak to my children.
Well, it's an extremist view. That's
a normal view in a lot of America. That's, I mean, and not a view I share, but it's a common view among a lot of people that they don't even want that people exposed to that opinion. They think it's dangerous. Like I fundamentally, I'm fundamentally worried about free speech in the United States.
Yes.
But
yes.
And I think like the speaker solution is interesting, and it'd be great to expose kids to that. But like if you're pulling students out of class to experience those speakers, inevitably you're going to find people who are upset because it skews one way or the other. Because you're going to get other schools where it's the opposite problem, where they're like, yeah, we're only going to bring in Gun Owners of America approved speakers because, taking away Second Amendment rights leads to tyranny, and that's their position, and I would be sympathetic to that. But there's going to be a lot of other students who are like, no, this is nonsense. Like, we think we want sensible gun controls, and we want to hear people who say that. So we end up having this like weird battleground, and that's how we end up with people who are apolitical.
Okay. All right. I can see where you go with that.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's a problem that's like endemic to public institutions that we have a problem with, where we try to make them neutral, or we try to make them balanced.
Right.
And that's a problem to me that's solved somewhat by privatization of a lot of things. But we're going to take a break real quick, and we'll be back to talk about that a little bit more in the last segment. So play some nice.
What you got for us?
Oh, I got some Foggy Dew coming up.
Foggy Dew.
Foggy Dew. So I will.
Foggy Dew.
Yeah. All right. So we'll be back in just a minute. Okay. So yeah, we thought we'd play a promo for the show coming up after us. Be good, courteous hosts.
Yes.
But you're listening to Outside the Echo Chamber right now on Rochester Free Radio, WRFZ 106.3 FM, or maybe you listen to us on the podcast on our website, outsidetheechochamber.show.
Yeah. And they could also listen to us on rochesterfreeradio.com.
That's right. Oh, so many places.
Yeah.
You got options, people.
I know, right? It's awesome. But you also have the option of coming to our convention next Saturday. So I want to say that again, because if you didn't catch us at the beginning of the show, next week we are having our Libertarian Convention at Romig's Tavern up in the City Greece area on Dewey there, 12 noon, Saturday.
Yeah. And so this is a good way to see, how does the largest and fastest growing third party in the United States operate at the local level?
Don't even say third party; it's the fastest growing party.
Yeah,
I mean,
fact.
Democrats and Republicans their enrollment's down.
They're declining. People are sick of it.
Yep.
So we're growing. Republicans, Democrats are declining.
Yep.
Independents are growing very fast.
Tories and Whigs are dying out, and the new parties are taking over.
Yeah, sure.
That's the way I look at it,
Yeah, that's how it goes.
But, come on down and, you can meet a couple of libertarians, hear a couple of speakers, have some food and some beer. And, yeah.
So that's, again, it's a Monroe County Libertarian Party convention, noon at Romig's. So it'll be educational. We're happy to talk to you about and answer any questions about third-party politics, especially as they relate to the Libertarian Party.
Plus, you get to meet Kevin, and
Yeah. You can meet us too.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to meet me, but you can meet Kevin. But, seriously.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. So again, come on down. Oops, I just bumped the mic. Clumsy. It's too early.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we were kind of talking about speech in public spaces.
Yes.
We're going on that stuff. So overall, like, just kind of wrapping that up a bit, it's really tricky to determine like what type of speech is acceptable and how to whether or not some of those actions should be punished in a high school setting. And because I mean, like, there's court cases that say that students do have free speech rights,
and that they do,
and they do. There's limits to it. Defined by the school system and the Supreme Court. Like there's I'm gonna forget the case name, but it's the armband case where the students wanted to wear armbands to protest the Vietnam War. Happened.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they originally those students got in some kind of serious trouble for doing that they're wearing armbands in school to protest the war in Vietnam, and that case went all the way up to the Supreme Court. And what was determined is that students don't lose free speech rights when they're in a school setting. The school can limit those rights when it comes to, like there's a certain level of disruption that's tolerated before it's considered too disruptive to the classroom experience.
Okay.
So you can't like shout out and give stand on your soapbox and give a speech in the middle of the classroom.
Right.
Or, and then the other questionable area is like, can you walk out of a classroom
right.
to do something without facing consequences? You certainly can legally, but you face some sort of consequences from an administrative point of view.
Did you catch the video of the principal dealing with that one kid that had during the protest, and he had the sign that he wrote that said, "Guns don't kill people, people kill people," and he ran him off the campus.
Yeah.
He said he was going to give him detention, and then he said he was going to get the police involved and have him arrested. It was like,
see, that's the type of hypocrisy I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
It's that type of stuff where it's like, okay, because to be fair, most schools, like if there were pro Second Amendment people there, they wanted to do their thing, like they kind of left them alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like most of them are like, all right, well, I'm not going to make a big stink of this because everyone else is walking out, and you can express your opinion how you want since everyone else is doing it too. Mm-hmm. And that's great. That's fine. At least that's a little bit more balanced there, where students are able to express themselves in the way they see fit. But yeah, the type of hypocrisy where you see principals and teachers and other administrators punishing students who are expressing an opinion or in counter protest to the walkout event.
Yeah, that to me is a problem. That's a big problem. That's a suppression of in this case a minority opinion.
Yeah,
he may have been the minority in that school, and to suppress the minority opinion is fascist, to say the least.
Yeah. And who knows? It's even hard to say like whether or not that person was the minority opinion or just one of the few people who had the guts to
right.
do something about it and to say something about it. Everyone else is like, well, my parents have guns and that's fine, and I think I should be able to buy a gun at 18, but I'm not going to rock the boat. Because that's what happens to a lot of high school kids. Like it's easier to be, in the mainstream than it is to fight it. It's understandable.
Yeah, don't beat them, join them, or something.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not me. I'm too stubborn for that.
So, actually, related to that, how do you feel about the whole walk-in thing? Have you seen those?
Walk-in?
Walk-in, yeah.
Please explain.
So walk-in things, I've seen these things going around. I think it's sort of a nice sentiment, but I have a problem with it, is basically the idea, instead of like walking out and protesting gun violence, is that you should be like reaching out to people that are unpopular or, that seem to be alone or seem to be having challenges.
Love it.
Yeah.
I have seen so many students being mistreated by other students over my career. Heck, I can remember seeing some guy when I was going to school, and it was his first day, and he showed up in the cafeteria, and he just had this starry-eyed look on his face like, okay, where do I sit? Yeah. And I was sitting by myself because I was that loner type, and I waved him on over, and we became good friends, and it's just, you need to reach out to other people. Sometimes that's all it takes. Just sit with somebody and have some lunch with them, and it changes their day. It changes their attitude. It may even change their life. Yeah.
So that's the part I like about it. And I think like the sentiment generally is a good thing. The part I like less about it, and the part like progressives have criticized about the whole walk-in thing, and I think this criticism is valid, is it can come off as victim blaming. Because the underlying implication is that if you reached out and made connections with some of these people, maybe they wouldn't have shot up your school. And I think that's like the underlying assumption of part of this. So overall, I think it's a positive sentiment, but I think the sentiment, the idea that like this is something you need to do to prevent school shootings is somewhat misguided.
I think it may indirectly affect it. I think the benefits definitely outweigh, any negatives. Sure, it may not achieve that goal of, preventing a school shooting, but you know what? You may have prevented a suicide, or or just
No, on that, you could make the lives of those students happier if you encourage people to reach out and build relationships and make friends, and even the people who are, social outcasts, right? Like how do you bring those folks into the fold?
Yeah, I remember being a senior in high school, and the big football player type, that I was, and a friend of mine's brother, he just started, 7th grade, because it was a junior senior high school that we had, and he just started 7th grade, and some of the I think it was 8th or 9th graders were picking on him, and I approached him and I was like, do it again.
Yeah.
Do it again. Find out what happens. Do it again. And that was it. They left him alone. And, that kid could have had a hellish middle school and high school career if one person, myself, did not intervene and get those kids off his back.
Yeah. And that's great. And I think, again, it's an attitude that we should encourage to do that. Mm-hmm. It's just that, again, in the context of this, is I worry that it implies that students could have prevented something like this if they had reached out to these kids. And the fact is that in a lot of these, it's a myth that some of these kids are unpopular social outcasts, or if they were, some of the times there's some good reason for it. So the Columbine kids, they went to prom, they had friends, but a lot of people avoided them because they would do edgy things like make Nazi salutes and make dark jokes about killing people, and that made people uncomfortable. So a lot of folks didn't want to hang out with them.
Yeah,
and it's really hard to deal with that situation. It's not this is some nice guy or girl who's just looking to make some new friends.
But can't you see that they befriended them or attempted to befriend them, and that's how they learned about them?
Well, I mean, they learned about them by seeing their actions.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. They learned about them, as opposed to complete avoidance,
Well, I mean, people do ridiculous stuff in the hallway, not have friends. I've seen people just say edgy stuff, and in my high school, people would say edgy stuff in the hallway, and they didn't have any friends, no one really talked to them, but you interact with them in ways.
But then you went to high school and what? It was 23 students or something. You were small.
Oh, it was 67 students. You had to know everyone. But well, no. This was an interesting conversation. We got to wrap up. We gotta make room for the next show coming in. But
yes.
All right. But thanks again for joining us on Outside the Echo Chamber. Again, thank you for listening to us on Rochester Free Radio, WRFC 106.3 FM, or RochesterFreeRadio.com, or soon podcasts on OutsideTheEchoChamber.show.
Don't forget Larry Sharp. Let's plug him real quick.
Larry Sharp. Yeah. Our guest last week, again, for those of you who've been asking, you can find more info. Just look up Larry Sharp on Facebook or LarrySharp.com. All right, but thanks again for listening. We will see you next week at 9 a.m. Next Saturday at 9 a.m. here on Outside the Echo Chamber.
And then we're going to the convention.
Then we're going to the convention, which I'm sure you will plug next week too. All right, see you next week, everyone.